This is Casual Babble. Hey everyone, how you doing? BC Babbles here, and welcome back to another episode of Casual Babble, the delve into the young entrepreneurial culture and lifestyle of the go-getter, the innovator. Before we hop into today's topic, let's not forget to like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're listening to the show on any of your popular favorite streaming platforms, hit a like or follow there too. And if you want to learn more about me, check out my linktree /BC Babbles. Same thing for Casual Babble /Casual Babble there. And find our socials on each of those. So yeah, hit us up, connect, and let's build a community for this show, because that's what I want to do. Build a fun community that means something. All right, so had a thought recently, and I wanted to discuss what I think is a pretty important thing that was introduced to me years ago, prior to my final semester in undergrad, and that was building a portfolio. Now, this is especially important if you are moving towards the end of high school, or if you're in the middle of college and you have an idea of what you want to be able to showcase of yourself by the time you graduate and you are vying for, your first job or whatnot. So, portfolios. What do I mean when I talk about a portfolio? Now, back in the day, early 2000s and whatnot, a portfolio usually involved somebody walking around with a huge suitcase or folder. I'm not sure what those big, padded folders are called, but they had numerous copies of paperwork, of analytical data, and previous work that person's done to show to prospective new employers about what they've done, and therefore what they could do in the instance that they were considered to fill a new job. So, portfolio, by the time I was introduced to the idea, this was December of 2015. I earned and graduated from my undergrad in 2016. And the professor that oversaw my CAP course, or my capstone course, which for those of you who are not in college yet, your capstone course is your essential pre-graduate course within your degree curriculum. And so Dr. Acock, which was his name, he had this great idea to get us into the mode of really beginning to capture ourselves professionally. And so I had his course, which was for me communications management, and that was going to be during the spring 2016 semester. And so he hit us with an assignment, something we had to have due and done by the first day of school in the spring 2016 semester. And the assignment, which we got before Christmas holiday 2015, was we had to come into the first day of school with a business card that had our name, phone number, email, and a URL on it. When he used that URL, it had to take him to a website that we built that had an intro page, a home page, an about us page, and then 3 separate pages, one for different kinds of work: written work, audio work, and video work. Then a contact us page, and I believe that was it. So I'm like, holy crap, I have never done web design before. I'll take that back. I've done, at that point, some HTML work, some CSS work. I was not at the time very versed in either. I just barely skipped past my web design class, which was all HTML, CSS focused. Not my thing. But thankfully, at that point, I had heard of Wix. And I was like, you know what? Let's look at Wix, see what this is, check it out. And yeah, let's see how this works. I had heard it was very user-friendly. I'm all about that. And thankfully it was, because that was going to be the only way in which this was going to happen. So I go into Wix, make an account, and pulled out several assignments that I had done well on. And over the Christmas holiday, when I had some free time, built my website, picked some of the better iterations of my work and put it all together. And then, of course, I had to get the what's it called? The business card. And at the time, I don't know if Canva was a thing yet. It may have been, but I didn't know about it yet. So I'm like, well, Vistaprint's a thing. So for the sake of this assignment, I made my first ever Wix and Vistaprint accounts. At the time, I'm like, who cares? It's what am I ever going to use this stuff for again? Cut to now, 2025, I've made several websites with Wix, and I'm a partner. I'm a Wix partner too. I've used it a lot. But what I really appreciated about that assignment over time is that I didn't realize it at the moment, but it really got me into the mode of figuring out how to showcase myself professionally. Because you go through all this schoolwork, all these classes, all these assignments, all these projects, and you don't necessarily know how to capture all that by the time you're reaching the end of your degree and you're starting to look out for your first ever jobs, right? And nowadays, especially, people love it, prefer it, if any of their candidates come out and say, hey, by the way, here's a link to my digital portfolio. That's especially true in the marketing world. Check out my previous stuff, email designs, social media, graphic design, copywriting, all the things, and get an idea of what I've done in the past and what I can do for you. You know, that's a huge thing. And not just in marketing, of course, but all across different industries. And so delving into the importance of a portfolio and what you should do if you're in any of those previous areas, moving towards the end of high school, in the middle of your degree curriculum, and you're beginning to contemplate, okay, if I want a nice job, or at least I want to be able to pitch myself for a nice job, how can I begin to cultivate this image of myself that speaks to what I can do? Let's talk about it. So honestly, my go-to suggestion is do the same thing we had to do when it came to that capstone course. Make a website. Make a website. Now, here's the thing. Nowadays, it's not just you have to make a whole website per se, which helps some people, because if you don't know anything about web design or even how to use platforms like Squarespace or Wix, that can be tough. Granted, what really helps us now, and I'm really happy these things kind of really took off during COVID, are links hubs. So those are things like Linktree, Beacons, All My Links, and so many others that came out over the past several years. Links hubs in lieu of a website are a great option for anyone who does not know or does not have the time to build a full website. Now, me personally, I'm gonna build a website, but I'm also going to use a links hub to allow people to easily interconnect between my social media, my portfolio, and my website. So they know how to connect with all things, and all the things that I have get traffic, right? So links hubs are great. I've been using Linktree for, I want to say 3-4 years now, and I find it incredible. I think it's a fantastic solution to make sure that you have all of your important things and links in one spot. Currently not sponsored by Linktree, but Linktree, let's talk about it because I'm all about it, okay? So Linktree or Beacons or All My Links, any of those are great options for those of you who don't know how to build a website and make sure that it functions properly. Because if you go the website route, you've got to be able to make sure you understand the automation side of things, which is to say, when people go and visit your website and they fill out a contact form, you have all the processes in the back end set up to where not only is their contact attempt confirmed for them, but also you are given the proper updates of, hey, someone went to your website, filled out a form, you got to talk to them, right? So whichever you can do more easily, go for that one. I will say Wix, even today, with its evolution from the original Wix editor to Editor X, and now more recently Wix Studio, still very user-friendly. I will say the interface has required you to pay attention so that you really know how to make these things work. Because of course, nowadays we have websites that have to be responsive, meaning that they have to look well, not only on your laptop or desktop, but also your tablets, your phones, anything that pulls up a web page, they have to look good on. So that's a whole other element, and we can talk about that later. But it's really important, I think, for you to consider using those different avenues. Now, how do these work logistically? How do they look? So for Linktree, and I think I'm going to say this without knowing for sure because I've not used the other ones, but assuming a similarity, for Linktree, super simple, have a picture of yourself. I think it's like maybe 50 characters to give yourself like a little bio. And then from there, not only are you able to put all of your social media links, if you have previous work, marketing work, creative work saved in a Google Drive somewhere or Outlook or some other cloud storage, put a link of that in there. If you're like me and you're a voiceover artist and you have several different YouTube channels that are showcasing your voice, you can put those in there too. And what's really cool recently that's come out for Linktree is that you can create sections. So it's not just a huge unnumbered list of links, but you can section them out. So for me, I think right now for mine, let me pull it up actually. Let me look and see how my Linktree looks for me. So BC Babbles. And so my first two links are Casual Babble, which will take you to the website for the podcast, and then Hire Me Direct. So that's anyone who wants to hire me through Linktree as opposed to through Fiverr or Upwork, which is fine. I'm good with either one. So then after that, I have two YouTube sections because I'm currently on at least two YouTube channels. One is Middle-earth oriented. So if you're a Tolkien, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings fan, look up a channel called About That Ring, and I'm currently voicing their videos there. I'm also on a channel called The Social Playbook, which talks about the psychology behind celebrity charisma and confidence and how you can take what they do and apply it to your own life. And so I have my Casual Babble, Hire Me Direct, those two groupings of videos, which is nice. And then after that, I have a couple different other options to hire me through Upwork or Fiverr. There's also a VO reel if you want to hire me for VO work, if you want to get an idea of how I sound on a project. And then after that, there's several ways to support me financially with Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal. You can go to my business website, Cassiano Creative, digital portfolio, social media. There you go. And I make sure to set all of my different link trees up like that. I think currently I monitor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 different link trees. And the fact that you can order and group different sets of links together to give it a bit more organization and professionality is invaluable to me. Without that, I would be so worried that anyone who came to simply check out my Linktree would be immediately overwhelmed, because my Linktree for BC Babbles also has a video playing behind everything, so there's a lot of movement. That's just who I am, how I like to operate. But yeah, that structure definitely helps out. Same thing if you were to look at my Cassiano Creative LLC Linktree. Same thing, got a website, links to different pages on the website. So homepage, content consultant service, my growth suite or marketing package service, subscribe to the newsletter. And I also make sure to do that for every single Linktree that I have. I'm really big on building a community and building a group of people who are like-minded and who like to see the kind of content and discussions I dish out. So the fact that you can also link stores if you have merchandise, or you can put out a contact form to reach out to you, or if you have a newsletter and you want people to be able to, and you want people to be able to subscribe to your newsletter through LinkedIn, you can put that there too. It's so cool. So cool. So if you don't want to do a website, I would definitely say a links hub like Linktree. Let's talk about it. Do it because it'll be so important. It'll help you out so much, and it'll help you build up your business, build up some traffic, build up your community, your CRM, to the point where eventually you can either afford to build a website or reach out to a VA or someone like me who builds websites and pay them to build it for you, and then evolve from there. Now, from there to websites, I would say, it's always fun to have full control over it. I understand those who want to pay someone else to do it. I would always say, make sure that whoever you work with who builds websites, you've got full understanding of what control you will have. Because a lot of times you might find someone who wants to have full control. It kind of gives them more leverage, which is a little bit weird. But, people sometimes run a game. And for those of you who are looking to build your own website, again, I've been with Wix thanks to my teacher since December of 2015. Not sponsored Wix, but Wix, let's talk about it because I'm open for some sponsorships, okay? Essentially, your website's going to be kind of like another extension of your portfolio. Granted, for me, I am looking to offer different services. So yeah, for sure. It's a bit more focused on talking about what I can do based on what I've done in the past, as opposed to showcasing all this different stuff. Building testimonials, making sure people can see that I have strong professional insight, that I have the ability to be a leader in my field, which is why I would also say a good thing for you to do, website or not, start blogging. Blogging is a great way to showcase to your potential audience and your network that you are somebody who has real professional insight in your industry. And so I would say, if you're paying attention to your industry, certain things are happening. Like for me, for marketing, there's a lot of talk about how Canva used to be the big go-to visual designer. Now there are others coming out, or AI is a huge thing in marketing right now, and talking about all the potentialities, but also concerns that AI brings to the table. And so, or even how you previously have accomplished this or that. So for instance, my most recent blog entry, which is it's been a little while now, came out in April, but it talks about how valuing someone else's values allowed me to attract a $50,000 client. And I feel like I spoke about that recently in the last episode, something like that. Pretty sure I did. But again, it's a great opportunity for you to discuss, topics that help you showcase your capacity for professional insight. So other blogs I've done include, one of my hot topics is why interview feedback is so important for today's job seekers. If you and I started talking about that, we talk for hours. I can go a long way talking about why getting feedback is so important, and how we really currently have a system that doesn't cater feedback. And as a result, you have so many people who want to be better, who are constantly told to be better in some way, shape, or form, without really being told what their inhibitors are, that are flying blind, because no one will take the time outside of saying you're not good enough to actually detail, hey, you seem pretty good in most spots, but here's where I had a little pause about you. Focus in on this area, and I think you'll be better next time. It seems like no one's willing to talk about that, right? So that's a big thing for me, which is why there's a whole blog entry about it on my website. And this is on Cassiano Creative, right? So you can check it out there for sure. But this is the point of portfolios. Whenever someone looks at anyone these days, they want to see that somehow, some way, that person has been established to a degree. Whether it's that they've already accomplished a lot of things, or at the very least, that person's already put in a lot of work into their area. And if no one can find that about you, then they have no reason to agree that you have a certain value that you're trying to convey. And this even goes for established organizations. And this, I'm going to mention this too, because this is a big thing for me as somebody who oversees social media for clients. If you are especially somebody in an organization or a business that likes to be involved in the community, you need to make sure all of your social media links are visible and findable on your website. At the very least, make sure you have a social media presence, because if you're the kind of company that likes to be involved in the community and you like to be known as a company that has that kind of nature, and you work with an organization that works with someone like me who oversees social medias, when I find out that your organization is a partner or a sponsor for this event or that event, I'm going to be looking to find a way to promote you, because marketing is always about before, during, and after. For any kind of event, you build it up, showcase the thing, and you talk about it post facto, talk about the success after the fact. And if I can't find you, I can't give you your kudos, right? So, and what's the point? So, again, very important to start working on your portfolio. Links hubs are great starts for those of you who do not want to or simply don't know how to build a website. I will say, certain platforms like Wix, again, super user-friendly. And again, if you would like to learn more about how that can look for you, having a Wix website build, reach out to me. I build them. I'm part of their partner program, and I would love to help you out. So, thank you for those of you who stuck around for the episode and who wanted to learn more about portfolios and why they're important. I think I'll talk about this again because there's a lot of ground to cover with portfolios that I'm sure I just didn't think about in this moment. This was kind of like a random thing for me, but happy you were here. In the meantime, wish you well, and we will see you for the next episode.